Hello everyone and welcome. I'm excited to kick off our presentation today. We're going to explore Mega Goal 3.2, focusing on form, meaning, and function. This is part of Unit 9, titled Beauty is Only Skin Deep. Over the next few slides, we'll dive into how language shapes our understanding of beauty and appearance, and how form and meaning work together. So let's get started and enjoy the journey. Now let's look at how we use the verb to be with needs. When we're talking about a singular thing, like a computer, we say the computer needs to be fixed. Notice that needs is used here because it's singular. On the other hand, when we're referring to plural things like walls, we say the walls need to be repainted. In this case, we use need without the s because it's plural. The key point to remember is that the form of to be depends on whether the noun is singular or plural, and this helps us express necessity accurately. This is a fundamental part of describing what something requires, which ties into our overall focus on clear and correct English usage. Today, I want to talk about using need and needs in sentences. So when we say, the cars need to be repaired, we're using need because cars is plural. It's like saying that multiple cars require fixing. On the other hand, when we say, the phone needs to be fixed, we're using needs because phone is singular. It's a simple way to show that just one phone requires attention. The key point here is that need is used with plural nouns, and needs is used with singular nouns. This little difference helps us communicate clearly whether we're talking about one thing or many. Remember, this concept connects to the overall theme of proper grammar usage, which is essential for clear and effective communication. So, as you can see, sometimes things just need a little attention to get back on track. The light bulb, for example, needs to be cleaned. This isn't just about keeping things tidy. It can actually improve the brightness and efficiency of the lighting. When we say it needs to be cleaned, we're talking about using the appropriate cleaning methods to remove dust and dirt that might have accumulated. Similarly, the room itself needs to be cleaned. This involves more than just surface tidying. It's about a thorough cleaning process. Using the past participle form, we say cleaned, which highlights that the action has been completed or needs to be completed. Overall, these small maintenance tasks, cleaning the light bulb and the room, are essential parts of maintaining a safe, efficient, and pleasant environment. They might seem minor, but they play a big role in the overall upkeep and functionality of a space. Now, let's take a closer look at how the present progressive tense relates to other time frames. On this slide, you can see that we have examples for the past, present, and future. In the present, we often use the structure, I am having, or I am getting my house painted now. This indicates an action happening right at this moment. When we talk about the past, we say, I had or I got my house painted yesterday. This shows that the action was completed in the past. Looking ahead to the future, we say, I will have or I will get my house painted tomorrow. This expresses a planned or scheduled action for the future. The key here is understanding how the verb have or get works with the progressive form to describe different time frames. The example at the bottom, VPP 3O have get S, highlights the structure where have or get is used as the main verb in the past, present, or future, combined with the progressive form. This helps us see the consistency in how these tenses are formed and used, making it easier to grasp their application across different contexts. Remember, the goal is to connect these structures to real-life situations, so you can use them naturally and accurately when speaking or writing. So here I have 4 different ways of expressing the same idea, but each one carries a slightly different nuance. First, I hired someone else to paint it for me. That indicates I made a decision to delegate, to bring in a professional to handle the task. It's about outsourcing and trusting someone else's expertise. Then I painted it by myself. This shows I took on the job personally, handling the painting myself without any help. It emphasizes independence and DIY effort. Next, I had my house painted. This phrase is a bit more formal and suggests I arranged for the painting to be done, perhaps through a service or contractor, but it doesn't specify whether I did it myself or someone else did. Finally, I painted my house. This one is straightforward. It indicates I personally took action and did the painting myself. The key here is understanding the subtle differences in tone and implication. It's about how we choose to describe our involvement in a task, which can influence how others perceive our level of effort or responsibility. Connecting this to the overall theme, it's a reminder that language shapes perception. The words we pick can convey different attitudes toward the same activity, and being mindful of that is crucial in effective communication. Now, let's look at how causative constructions work with different tenses. In the present simple, we say, he repairs the car. But when we want to emphasize that someone else does the repair for him, we say, he has the car repaired. This means, he arranges for the repair to happen. Moving to the present continuous, instead of he is repairing the car, we say, he is having the car repaired. Again, this shows he's causing someone else to do the work right now. In the past simple, if he repaired the car himself, we'd say, he repaired the car. But if he had someone else do it for him, we say, he had the car repaired. So across all these tenses, the causative form helps us talk about when and how someone causes something to happen, rather than doing it themselves. This concept is really useful because it adds clarity about responsibility and actions in different time frames. Remember, the key is the structure. Have or has plus the past participle of the main verb. It's a versatile way to express causality across various tenses. So let's take a look at some common repair needs. First, the heel has broken, so it needs to be repaired. This is a reminder that many items around us require maintenance to stay functional. Next, the tire has a puncture and needs to be replaced. It's important to address these issues promptly to ensure safety and efficiency. Then, a button has fallen off, and it needs to be sewn back on. This highlights how small repairs can make a big difference in keeping things in good condition. Moving on, the car is dented and needs to be fixed or mended. Regular maintenance like this helps prolong the vehicle's lifespan. The knife is blunt and needs to be sharpened, a simple fix that improves performance and safety. The pants are torn and need sewing again, showing how minor repairs can extend clothing life. Lastly, the heater is broken and needs to be repaired or fixed. Overall, these examples emphasize that maintaining and fixing items is essential, and understanding what each repair involves helps us keep things working smoothly and efficiently. Now let's look at VPP3, which stands for the past participle phrase used as an adjective. In the examples, you see the technician fixed his broken phone, and his phone is broken. Here, the past participle broken is used to describe the noun phone. The key point to remember is that a past participle can be placed before a noun to act as an adjective, giving us more information about the noun in a concise way. It's important to note that this structure is common when describing the state of something resulting from an action. For example, broken tells us the condition of the phone, which was caused by the technician fixing it earlier. So in essence, a past participle like broken can serve as an adjective before a noun, helping us create clear and descriptive sentences. This is a useful way to add detail efficiently in your writing and speaking, especially when explaining the status or condition of an object. Let's take a look at some common ways objects can be damaged or altered. On the workbook page 328, you'll find these words: torn, scratched, decorated, broken, redesigned, cracked, repaired, and damaged. Each of these describes a different state or change an item can undergo. For instance, torn refers to something ripped apart, often unexpectedly. Scratched indicates surface damage, usually from something sharp. Decorated is a positive change, showing how an object can be embellished or personalized. When we say broken, we're talking about something that no longer functions properly or is physically shattered. Redesigned points to a deliberate change in the item's appearance or function, often to improve it or give it a new look. Cracked is a less severe form of damage than being broken. Think of a vase with a small crack. Repaired shows that after damage, efforts were made to fix the item and restore it to its original condition. Lastly, damaged is a general term that can encompass any harm or imperfection. Understanding these words helps us describe the condition of objects accurately and how they can change over time, which ties into the overall theme of maintenance, repair, and the life cycle of items. Let's look at some examples of passive and active voice. In the first example, "My car stolen last night has been found." We see the passive voice. Here, the focus is on the car and the action is being done to it. The subject receives the action, which is typical of passive constructions. Now switching to the active voice example, "The man speaking English works in hospital." In this case, the subject, the man, is performing the action, which is working in the hospital. Active voice tends to be more direct and clear because it clearly states who is doing what. Understanding the difference between passive and active voice is important because it helps us choose the right tone and clarity for our communication. Passive voice can sometimes sound more formal or vague, while active voice makes our sentences more straightforward and engaging. This distinction ties back to our overall theme of effective communication. Now let's look at the present participle forms in sentences. In the first example, "While trying to open the can, I hurt myself." The phrase, "trying to open," shows an action that was happening at the same time as the main action. The present participle, trying, helps us understand the ongoing nature of the action. In the second example, "On hearing the news, she collapsed." The phrase, "hearing the news," uses a present participle to indicate the moment or event that triggered her collapse. These examples illustrate how present participles can describe actions that are happening simultaneously or serve as the background for the main event. They add context and detail, making our descriptions richer and more precise. Now let's talk about how we describe feelings and causes using present and past participles. When we want to express what someone is feeling, we often use the present participle form of a verb. For example, if I say, "I was frightened of the cat," I'm indicating my feeling at that moment. On the other hand, if we want to describe what caused that feeling, we use the past participle form. So in the example, "The cat was frightening," the cat is responsible for causing the fear. This structure helps us clearly distinguish between the feeling and its cause, which is especially useful when we're explaining reactions or emotions. Remember, the key is that the present participle describes the person's feeling, while the past participle describes the thing or person causing that feeling. This connection is important in understanding how feelings are expressed and explained in English. Let's look at some examples of how small changes in context can affect meaning. For instance, "The doctor called out lives nearby." This might seem a bit confusing at first, but it highlights how context and word choice are important in communication. Next, instead of going straight home, some people choose to go to the park, perhaps for relaxation or fresh air. While enjoying a leisurely day, someone might listen to a football game on the radio or TV, all while doing their homework, showing how multitasking is common in everyday life. Then, we see how external events, like the stock market crash of 2008, impacted many people's financial stability and overall well-being. It's a reminder of how interconnected economic events are with our personal lives. Moving on, Jack experienced disappointment when he didn't get into his first-choice university, an emotional but common part of the college application process. Finally, when arriving at the airport, it's essential to check in your bags to ensure smooth travel. And if you're catching a train, remember that the 10:33 fast city link arriving on platform 3 is a good detail to keep in mind to avoid missing your train. Overall, these examples emphasize the importance of clarity, preparation, and understanding context in our daily communication and decisions.